Good evening, and thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. My name is Janet Evanja, and I'm with the League of Women Voters, and we would like to welcome you for coming. We're so pleased to have the opportunity to host you and the candidates as well tonight with the American Democracy Project. They've been such incredible partners for us, and we definitely could not do this without them. First thing I'd like to do, actually, is to have all of the board members of the League of Women Voters stand up, and if we could recognize them for their service tonight. Thank you so much. And if I could also have all of the volunteers from the ADP stand up, and please thank them as well. Great job. And they're going to be our timers tonight, so you guys had better be really nice to them, just saying. One of the things that I do want to mention, and that we have had some questions on, first of all, is what district am I in? A lot of you, I know, I had no idea until I came tonight what district I was in, and by the way, it's the 3rd. You can check which district you're in on those maps on the wall. And please do that, because that way you'll know which one of the Common Council races that you need to look very closely at. The other thing that I did want to remind you about is the referendum. A number of people have been asking, do we vote for the referendum on this election, or is it the next election? Can people who live in the county vote for the referendum, or is it just people who live in the city? The referendum is going to be on this ballot in May, and county can vote as well as the city. So if you have friends in the county who would like to make their voice heard on the referendum, please have them come and vote on for the May election, for the primary election. That's when it will be determined. It's so important. If you haven't read it yet, we have a copy out on the desk, so please go out and take a look at it, because it is incredibly important to our future, and you do need to take a look at it. The other thing that I would like to ask you, and this is a plea, we are having 2 debates. One is tomorrow night with the Common Council, and then the next one is on April 8th with the mayor's election. And we're just really creative, but we are actually having a very hard time coming up with questions for this. So please, if you can fill out a white card that they have out at the front desk, or if you want to hold up your hand, if you can think of a question, Bev will bring some cards around to you. We would really appreciate it, because we need some good questions for these debates. The debates will only be as good as the questions, and we need some good ones. We need to challenge these guys. We need to. They are a sharp group, and they're up to the challenge, I know. So let's get some good questions for them. Finally, it is my honor to introduce the moderator for tonight. Our moderator is a professor of political science at IUSB, and she's also the director of the American Democracy Project, which we've introduced you to folks who work with her, and they've been so helpful. She's won numerous awards for her civic engagement work and has conducted hundreds of interviews, and also has moderated numerous debates. We are thrilled tonight to have as our moderator, Professor Elizabeth Banyan.
And I will not be at the podium tonight, because we're going to have the candidates at the podium. And the format this evening is to allow each candidate 3 minutes to really give you their pitch. In other words, who are they, why are they running, and why should you vote for them on election day? And I want to offer just one very quick point of clarification before we move into hearing from the candidates, and that is that folks in Elkhart County who are also in the Elkhart Community School Corporation can vote on that question. And so we just do want to be clear about that. You don't have to be in the city limits, but you do need to be in the corporation. And of course, I echo Janet in encouraging everybody to come out to our candidate forum for districts 1, 2, 4, and 6, the contested races in those districts for Common Council will be tomorrow evening, March 27th, and then also the Elkhart mayoral debate will be on the 8th of April. So we hope to see you right back here in the beautiful Crystal Ballroom here at the Lerner Theater. We are going to start this evening with the council districts and then move to Common Council at Large, to the Elkhart City Court, the City Clerk, and finally we will hear from the mayoral candidates. Another way that folks who aren't here to look at the maps can learn which district they're in is to go to indianavoters.com and look at who's on the ballot. And once they enter their address, they will actually find out who's on the ballot all the way down to those council districts. So that's another way to encourage people to find out what district they're in before they join us tomorrow night to hear more from those candidates. And so without further ado, I bring you the main event of the evening, which is of course to hear from these candidates. We have a wonderful group of candidates for this evening, and we will start with Council District 1. So Elkhart Common Council, District 1, and we will hear first from Steve Gruber.
Good evening, my name is Steve Gruber and I'm a Republican candidate for District 1 in the city of Elkhart, which is like a big L shape. It goes near Northside Gym, all of downtown, part of East Jackson, the Industrial Park, and County Road 17 to Sorgs. So there are people who have investments in my district who can't vote in this district, but I believe you all are investors. If you come here to work, if you buy gas, if you pay taxes, you're an investor. And as a city councilman, I am your bridge to the city. I represent your investments. The best thing that council can do, and I do admire their austerity with the budget, is to maximize your investment. What do you want people to say about Elkhart in 5 years? When I moved back here in 2010, I'm a 6th generation Elkhartan, and I was one of those kids that was bound for college and then said, in 1981, there's nothing here. We were in a terrible recession, it got worse. My uncle lost his business, most of the people we knew had to lay off or completely shut their doors. So I lived in California for 9 years, North Carolina for 16 years. I was a housing developer and a fundraising executive. I worked with nonprofits most of my adult life, so I'm very well aware of being frugal with the budget, and I think that's one of the most important things that council can do. But council can also represent your interests. And one of the most interesting things to me, when I moved back here, our daily newspaper thought that any good cultural amenity happened in a place called Goshen. Anything here was on page 3A3 or buried. That has shifted. We have an enormous amount to be proud of here. When you go to Grand Rapids, people say, oh yeah, you got to check out the downtown farmers market or the art beat. You know, when you go to Terre Haute, what do people say? Good luck, Duval. So I know that what we've got here are some tremendous things. When I came back here, nobody thought that the Lerner would fly. There was so much public sentiment against it. We were nearing 20% unemployment. I see Carol McDowell, she and I were working on the 2009 Jazz Festival. Well, we had a jazz festival, we had a reservation and no money. And Elkhart stepped up. We definitely went into debt for that. But we have some world-class amenities. You're sitting in one of them. And I want to see you as investors be represented so you can see really cool things happening because culture builds a city. New Orleans has great tourism and huge amounts of humanity and everything, but people love the culture. I think people are starting to love the culture here, and that's building jobs. It's building a great tax base, and I would be proud to represent you as we carry those things forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. And Steve stayed right on time for the other candidates. Our timekeepers are right here to keep you to your 3 minutes. So they will count you down with a 90-second, 60-second, 30-second, and 10-second warning. And so you'll know where you are in your time allotment. Council District 1, Democrat Gerry Roberts and Republican Richard Shively are not here this evening, I believe. So we will move to Council District 2, and we will hear from Democrat Andrew Stricker.
Thank you. I'd first like to thank the League of Women Voters and the American Democracy Project for inviting me and having you all here to this evening. I am Andrew Stricker, and I am the only Democrat running in District 2 this year. I'm 32 years old. I live over on Riverside with my wife and 2 children. My wife, Tamara, is the Assistant Director at Saving Grace Ministries. It is a homeless outreach, and it also helps families that are dealing with some kind of financial hardship. And we help a lot of people here in our community, especially in District 2. And I'm not sure if a lot of people know that, but we have a lot of homeless in District 2. They just like to hide a lot down by the river and under the bridges. But it is a big help in that regard. And I help out a lot with that, and so does my wife. I'm an Iraq War veteran. I went to Iraq in 2008 with the surge, with the Indiana National Guard Infantry Brigade Combat Team, the 76th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. I was a specialist. I drove a Humvee. We protected supply trucks while I was there. I went on and I served 11 years total in the Indiana National Guard. And while I was there, I served as a squad leader, a platoon sergeant, a retention officer, a career counselor, a mental resiliency instructor, and a military mountaineer. During my time, I served in a lot of leadership positions. I helped out a lot of command teams, helped out a lot of battalion majors, lieutenant colonels. When they had a mission to get done, they came to me to get that job done. I was always recognized as one of the greatest leaders in the battalion. My NCO reports will show that. I'm running because I love Elkhart. My wife and I moved here back in 2015. We bought our first home here, just off of Riverside. And I actually live 2 houses down from Dickerson. And I actually did not know that until this year. So I think I met your wife before, but I wanted to see you a lot. So, hello. There's a lot of things in Elkhart that I'd like to see changed. We have a major housing shortage. We have a housing affordability crisis that a lot of us I don't think recognize. But I meet a lot of single mothers that live in their cars here in the wintertime because they cannot afford an apartment. And they work full time. I've known a family of about 7 people that couldn't even get into Faith Mission because there's too many of them. We have a lot of jobs here. We have very low unemployment, but we still have a major poverty problem. These are some of the things that I will focus on if I'm elected in November. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for being here, and I hope that you will support me in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. We hear next from Republican candidate for Common Council District 2, Kraig Grover.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Kraig Grover, and I'm running for Elkhart City Council in Precinct 2. As a candidate, I will provide a voice not only for my constituents, but a voice within the city of Elkhart. It will help create economical stability and growth within the city and neighborhoods. Building relationships with the future mayor, council, and community. The skills that I will bring to the council include commitment, integrity, and diligence. Also, building trust and having fiscal responsibility. My educational background includes educational background includes a Bachelor's of Science degree from ISB in labor studies, 2 associate's degrees, and an associate degree of science from IUSB in labor studies also, and an associate's arts degree in general studies from Southwestern Michigan College. Previous Alumni Association president for labor studies at IUSB, former owner of K&K Masonry, and I'm a proud father of 2 adult children, a son 25 serving in the military, Marines in San Diego, and a daughter 22 attending Ivy Tech in Goshen, Indiana. If elected, I will work with others to achieve their goals and make Elkhart a place where others would enjoy visiting, residing. Building a better Elkhart begins with strong relationships. And thank you, and appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you very much, Kraig. And as we know, lots of people who work very diligently behind the scene and getting things done are not always the most comfortable public speakers. So that often comes with time in politics. And candidates, one thing you can do is speak right into that microphone, but we also do have this backup if folks are not hearing. We want to make sure everybody can hear you here and also in the video. Next, we will hear from Republican District 2 candidate, Brian Thomas.
Okay, the first thing I will do is what I always have to do. Good evening, thanks for coming. Please tell your friends and neighbors to show up tomorrow night so we can fill up all these chairs and maybe bring some more in. I'm running for my 5th term on the Elkhart Common Council from District 2. District 2 is the near west side of Elkhart and the far west side. It's the largest geographical district of all the districts. We all have about the same amount of population. Most of the districts run about 8,000 people per district. So if you live on the west side of town, you're either in District 2 or possibly in District 6. I'm a lifelong resident of Elkhart. I was raised on a house on Massachusetts over by Elkhart General Hospital, where I was born. Matter of fact, Friday is the 20th anniversary of my 50th birthday. You can tell I'm not really looking forward to this. I have, as I said, I've been on the council for 4 terms. I initially ran to take the vacant seat that current Mayor Tim Neese vacated in District 2 when he went on to the state legislature. They picked someone else. That upset me so much that I decided to run in the general election, or primary election, general election, which I did, and have been blessed to win 4 elections since then. On the council, I hope I'm known as a consensus builder, a nonpartisan voter. One of the good things about being an incumbent, along with one of the bad things about being an incumbent, is your public record is on the public record. So you can look back and see what people on the council, how they voted, and even to the point of looking up the minutes and seeing what we've said about certain subjects. I think you'll find if you happen to look back on my record, I've been about as bipartisan on most of the major issues as anybody on the council. I'm usually one of the last ones to talk in the council. It's usually after I've been able to hear all the pros and cons, both from fellow council people, but also from public participation. And then I have my say, and then I have my vote, which is basically what the role of a council person is over and above handling the fiduciary side of city government. So, I hope to be returned as District 2 council person for a 5th term. Going back to some personal life, I've lived on Strong Avenue since 1971. I bring experience and dedication, passion and energy to District 2 council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. 4 candidates, 4 people passionate about the city of Elkhart, and 4 people who did not require a hook to get them off the stage. So we're moving right along. And next, we have a candidate who is in the comfortable position of being unopposed, but we still want to hear from him. You always have the choice to mark the ballot or not. So let's hear from David Henke, District 3.
Can you hear me okay? All right, my opponent gave me his 3 minutes, so I've got 6. That's how we're going to play it. And you will need to hook for me, so if you know me, you'll need that hook. I've been on the council quite a number of years, and I'm quite proud of the track record along the way. I started off only because, some changes at Greenleaf Manor, some investments I have with the city, and I was concerned about where my tax dollars were going. What was being spent on what accord and in whose interest. So I got involved. With that said, I have been on the Finance Committee for the duration of time, chairman of the Finance Committee. As a background, you may know that I was a respiratory therapist at the hospital when Rich Bowling had dark hair. And his dad was there, so I was proud to serve at that time as a respiratory therapist, but later, in my career up to date, has been a financial officer for a healthcare arena out of Chicago, which falls right in line with my duties as the finance chair of the city. I enjoy it. I'm responsible, I believe, for the #1 goal of any council person by Indiana State Constitution, and that's budget oversight. I will say I applaud the council that has been serving the last 16 years at least, that we have been very conservative in our spending, which allowed us the opportunities we have today. We're in an enviable position in the state of Indiana. That gave us the Riverwalk, which is the first of 4 projects we have moving forward. It allowed us to be healthy. It allowed us, as you probably know from Mishawaka, they're $10 million in the hole. We can say we're glad we're not them, but on the other hand, we learned from them as we did from Goshen. We have to be good financial stewards to have a future. River District brings the next 2 generations the revenue necessary to be stable, to have a vision, and to look forward. We're not leaving them in poor financial condition. Debate is healthy. Debate is good. And hopefully it gets us the right outcome. And I'm all about that debate. Thank you very much. I appreciate the vote.
Good job. No hook. ADP photographer, if you could come up closer, we'll get shots of each of the candidates at the podium, so we don't have to use zoom lens. We are now going to hear from 3 candidates competing in the Democratic primary for Common Council District 4, and we will start with Dwight Fish.
Good evening. Thank you for engaging in Elkhart. That's the name of my Facebook page, and that's what I've been doing since I came to Elkhart 28 years ago. I want to make sure you understand how passionate I am for my district, District 4, because I've got the gems of the city in the Railroad Museum and the Tolson Center, and going soon to be, I believe, the South Side resurgence in business and home. We've got a lot of work to do, but we've been cleaning up some of the blight, and we've been investing in some of these businesses and roads and streets and the fundamentals of democracy here in Elkhart. So I want to make sure you understand how important it is to continue that work, and I'd like to be reelected. But I want you to be engaged. I want you to elect a new Democratic mayor, and I want you to reposition our council as a Democratic council. So we have a new way of looking at things. We've done some nice things in the last 3 years, but we've got an important future in front of us, and that's where you come in. I know you're all engaged. You're all registered to vote. Thank you. Good. No hands went up.
On or before April 8th.
On or before April 8th. Get your family and friends engaged in this election. This is a pretty big one, folks. Things are changing. And I want to be part of that new change because I've been a part of the current change. And I'm really proud of the work that I've done. So get involved, knock your neighbor with the elbow, make sure they get out and vote. We've got to get new energy into our election this year, and that starts with you. I won't let you down because I've been engaged. I think a lot of you here know how vocal I am about my gyms and your gyms, and we're going to continue making Elkhart nice and polished and pretty. Okay? Let's do that together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dwight. And I know one of the things that both the League and the American Democracy Project are passionate about is urging people to go to indianavoters.com or call your local voter registration office to make sure that your registration is in fact up to date, that you weren't mistakenly purged. And of course, if you've moved, you'll want to re-register at your current address. We hear now from District 4 Democrat, Jay Little.
Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters for having all of us come out here and speak to you all. I think that it's really important because it gives you a chance to hear what we think and to set standards for policy and other things like that going forward for our great city. I think that that's a very important thing. Anyway, my name is Jay Little, and many years ago, I ran for the I went to Bethany Christian High School, and then I ran for Vincennes and then the University of Southern Indiana down in Evansville for the awesome Bill Steggy-Moeller. And one thing that I learned from Coach Steggy-Moeller was that you have to go really hard, and you have to be willing to do things when other people won't do them. And I've done a lot of that in my life. I've run hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles on the streets around both the city of Elkhart and throughout the county. And so I've seen a lot of things change. I'd like to see our city be a cleaner city. I think that there's a lot of trash. I live down in on the south side of Elkhart, and I'd like to see our city be cleaner. We have the opportunity to do so through ordinances and some other things like that, but it seems like code enforcement doesn't always focus on what needs to be cleaned up. They focus on nitpicky things. And that would be one thing that, and I know that there's some other people that have talked about changing ordinances and reviewing ordinances. And I think that as a city council person, I think I want to encourage that. The other thing that I really want to see happen is I want to see the homeless issue that Elkhart has dealt with. Goshen has one as well. And I think that there needs to be some talk between both of our cities, and that hasn't happened. I also think that our school board needs to have a lot more say in what happens with the city council and vice versa. And the referendum is a very important thing. The final thing that I think is really important with regard to public safety, I've taught upwards of 1,000 people, mostly in the city of Elkhart, how to swim. I used to be a lifeguard at the Y. And I've taught a lot of people how to swim. I worked with everything from handicapped kids to old people and doing senior aqua exercise, which is always fun. And you never know where you'll see those seniors at and what they might say to you. But I think that with regard to public safety, I think that that's some stuff that we have to look at, and we have to have more of a discussion about our public safety officers, and also what it means to be a public safety officer, both for police and fire. Thank you. My name is Jay Little. Please vote for me.
Thank you, Jay. Our third District 4 candidate is Ron Troyer.
I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this. It's been a enjoyable thing. I've been involved in this before, and it's a good contact for you and for me. So, tell you a little bit about myself. I live over on Princeton Avenue. Been there 42 years, and I confirmed and made sure I had the number right. Been married to my wife for 51 years. So I had to confirm that. I didn't want to be wrong on that. But we've raised 2 daughters. We've both been very active in the neighborhood area. My wife was church administrator for Prairie Street Mennonite Church for 35 years. So we had a good opportunity, and she did, to coordinate a lot of the concerns of people in the community. And I've been involved in civic groups as well as local groups, fundraisers for events and so forth. So it's been fun to be involved. Probably the reason I got on city council about 15 years ago is because I still have that skill of listening to people. I was adopted out of an orphanage at the age of 7, and my twin brother and I learned real quick how to listen. We listened, showed respect, and received respect. And that's what I brought to the city when I became city council person. I was self-employed for 21 years. I learned to listen to people. We started businesses not knowing really what to do, but we had to listen how to do the business. So it's, I went back to college after government business, after solar businesses. Had to sit and listen again. Learned that, At the age of 40, it wasn't easy to learn, so you had to develop that listening skill. I developed a lot of respect in the 4th District from people. They could tell me their concerns, and they knew I would respect them and listen and do my job, We tackled some big issues on the city when I was on council. We had the smoking ordinance, we had trash carts, we had, of course, this learner theater. It was great to be involved with and to help sell these important things to the people in the 4th District. Once I've established that respect and rapport with people, it was easier for them to accept it. And they feel comfortable in talking to me. I've been out for 2.5 years now, and people kept saying, Ron, we want you to listen to us again. So that's why I got back in. The people challenged me. I accept the challenge, and I appreciate your help moving forward. I enjoy the responsibility and take it very seriously. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ron. Next, we will hear from Brent Kraig, Democrat, running in District 5.
Good evening, and I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and thank the League of Women Voters for hosting us. And I am Brent Curry, and I was born and raised right here in Elkhart, and I'm proud to say that anywhere in this country of the United States, because it's a great place to live. It's a great place to be involved, and I've always been involved. I'm proud of the fact that I served on the Redevelopment Commission prior to getting on the City Council. I served for 16 years, and we laid the groundwork for where you're sitting today. We laid the groundwork for what happened on the Riverwalk and a lot of other projects in the downtown area. That's why I have vision for what the 5th District can be. We've made some great changes to the 5th District with lighting, streets, and working with the department heads to get things done. My district runs from Indiana Avenue out to Ben Oak, and I talk to people from all of my district, and I know what they need and what they want. The people in Garfield want more lighting now. Ben Oak want decorative lighting now. And we're working on that. Benham Avenue has been a concern. It'll tear your car up, but it's going to be fixed this year. Augusta Lane at Ben Oak is in terrible shape, but it's going to be fixed this year because we keep pushing for what we know our district needs, and it's just good to listen to the people's concerns and address them. I live on Hawthorne Drive, and when I was running for council, there was a flooding problem. We have a very nice house. It's probably one of the best kept secrets in Elkhart, in our area. I see some of my neighbors here today, and I'm glad to know my neighbors because I am president of the P.M. Moran Neighborhood Association. And we have a very good neighborhood association. We meet every month, year-round. We're old school. We pass out a flyer and put information on it because a lot of our neighbors don't have email. And we want them to, if they don't come to the meetings, at least know what's going on. Right now, we're pushing everybody to get one of the new recycling bins, but we can keep our area clean and keep the animals out of overflow trash cans. So we're pushing that with our neighborhood. So we had a potluck last month, and it's just good to know your neighbors, work with your neighbors, and you can get a lot of things done and know what the neighbors expect out of me as a council person and what they expect out of me to be a good neighbor. And it's just good to be in Elkhart, and appreciate you supporting me and bring all your concerns to me, because I'm in the 5th district, but I feel at large because a lot of people know me, so they call me, and that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brent. And those were some very specific campaign promises about what will be done this year. So I'm sure everybody will be looking forward to seeing that. We turn now to District 6, and we hear first from Democrat Tonda Hines. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you to our hosts, and thank each and every one of you for taking time out to come and hear us. I am Tonda Hines. I'm a homegrown, trustworthy, responsible community advocate. My husband and I of 18 years have 3 amazing adult children and 5 grandchildren. I've served as an employee of Elkhart Community Schools for 19 years. During my years, I have been an office assistant, a coach, a parent and community liaison, and currently I am the program manager for the 21st Century Community Learning Center grant that provides before and after school programming for students at Roosevelt STEAM Academy and Peram Middle School. I have the honor and the privilege to serve with some of my fellow council members from 2008 to 2016 representing the 6th District. During my time on the council, I served on numerous boards. Currently, I'm a proxy to the Elkhart Housing Authority Board, and I'm a member of the Kiwanis Club. The current state of District 6 has driven me to seek another opportunity to represent it. Without question, our district needs economic development and growth, advocacy, and a dedicated council representative to be a true voice for our district. My mission is to listen to the people and be the voice so that equity is the driver of the legislative process in the district and the city as a whole. Together, we will strengthen our neighborhoods and engage in the local government process to improve the quality of life centered around 3 community issues. 1, economic development and growth. 2, stronger neighborhood associations. And 3, the education process on the legislative process. I am responsible, I am trustworthy, I am a community advocate, I am a thoughtful servant, I am dedicated, and I'm asking all of you that are in District 6 for your vote on May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Tonda. Yes, registration deadline Monday, April 8th, election day, Tuesday, May 7th. Vote on the 7th, if not before. And we hear next from Republican District 6 candidate Pam Kurpgeweit.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you for hosting us. I am the current City Council District 6 representative. I've had that honor since 2016. Therefore, I want you to know a little bit about me. I've been honored by you, the employer, the taxpayer, to serve you. I am the current liaison to the Parks Department, the liaison to the airport. I serve as the chairman of the Public Works and Improvement Committee. I've been involved with major projects, such as our other council members have, to include the River District. We're now looking at developing the Lusher Avenue development pocket, which is from Oakland over to Napanee, which is in our District 6. So we're not sitting by the sidelines, people. We are working on things. Our streets have been rated by our street department, and they are being rated and resurfaced based on the priority and the status of the streets. So we are working on those. We're also looking at South Central development. We're looking at putting a 5-year park plan together because our park plan became outdated. Having a master 5-year plan allows us to apply for and hopefully be granted state and federal dollars, which helps our parks grow. We are blessed to have many parks in our community. Many towns do not have that. We were one of the first parks to put ADA playground equipment in a park over by McNaughton Park for our children. And it has become a goal of mine and our Parks Department that as we replace playground equipment, we will try to do all or a major portion of it as ADA playground equipment for all of our children in the town. So that is a goal we all have. I oppose wasteful spending. I like to keep our taxes as low as possible to protect your money. I want to continue beautifying our parks. I too want prompt and fair code enforcement, and we have been working on that. I give informational updates through news, through social media, and attending every neighborhood association meeting that I've been asked to, and the 2 that are active in our neighborhood. I'm an engineer. I'm a quality assurance and inspection manager. I've created jobs, created departments. I've worked in the management field of microcircuits, plastics, and the industrial fields. I want our community to continue to grow. We need a safe, affordable, fun place to live, to raise our families in, to retire in. Because this is not only our community, we need to make it a community for the future generations. I've been very involved in volunteering, most currently the Homeless Ministry Coalition that is being started in our town. So I thank you for this evening. I ask you for your vote in the May primary so I may continue to serve you and our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pam. We will hear now from the final candidate for District 6, who is Republican Rick Stauffer.
Last but not least, I guess, I want to thank all of you for showing up tonight, and I hope you come tomorrow night. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this. My name is Rick Stauffer. My wife of 45 years, Karen, has lived here in the community the whole time. We've raised 5 kids. They've graduated from Elkhart Memorial High School. Part of my, I'm a conservative Republican, and I'm running for the 6th District to continue the fight for a better 6th District. We've heard a lot about the homeless. That's an important factor, but one thing that I don't hear a lot about is the elderly people. We have a lot of elderly people that deserve the same benefits as the homeless do, and they need help. I'd like to lower the taxes. I think that's an important thing. Create new jobs. And I think one of the most important things is working with other council members, regardless whether they're Republican or Democrat. If we don't work together, we represent the city. And if we don't work together, you can't get much accomplished. We all have to work together, no matter if it's Republican or Democrat. I think another factor is the code enforcement. It seems to me a lot of selective code enforcement anymore. I see homes in neighborhoods, there might be 3 and 4 families living in one home. You go outside, it looks like a used car lot. That's an important thing. I'd also like to see the events downtown. We have a lot of good events. That's important. Another thing that's on people's minds, especially in the 6th District, is the Olson Center. I think we need to proceed with that cautiously, slowly. I think the staffing is one of the biggest issues with the Olson Center. The children need a place to go to. That's important to me. that's taken care of. I graduated from Gentown High School. I attended ISUB. I've owned 2 businesses. I'm retired now, and I hope to see you all tomorrow night, and I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a little new at this, so that's why it's a little sketchy here.
All right. Thank you very much. We are going to turn now to the Common Council at Large members, and you will hear from 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans. Ultimately, in the fall, you will need to pick 3 of the 6 to serve on the council, and at-large simply means citywide. So you heard from folks who are representing a specific district or geographic area in the city. The next set of folks you'll hear from would be representing the city as a whole, so everybody in the city is eligible to cast their votes for these candidates. And we will hear first from the Democrats, starting with Arvis Dawson.
In case anybody's wondering, IU is up 10-9 over Wichita State with 11 minutes and 52 seconds to go. So that's just some information for you. My name is Arvis Dawson. I'm running the City Council at large, and I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting us and the Democracy Project, which my daughter was a part of, for doing this for us. I run for City Council because I love where I live and I live where I love. I love Elkhart. I was a city boy, came from the south side of Chicago, came to Elkhart. I used to tell people I live in Mayberry. You know, this is a great place to live, great place to raise your family, great place to meet people, and I've met so many people that have become part of my family. So that's one of the many reasons I love Elkhart. I currently serve on the Board of Works. I'm on the Elkhart Urban Enterprise Zone Association. I stayed involved with government. I was on the City Council for 28 years. I spent 8 years in the mayor's office, so I'm probably the only person in here that served. Maybe Dave has as well, on both the executive and the legislative side of government. So I understand that. I understand too that there's no Democrat or Republican way to pave your street or plow your snow in this little town we're in right now. You know, we're going to do what's best for the people, and that's really what I want to do. I really got involved too because we shouldn't, in this time of prosperity, we should not be arguing about whether we have a Tosin Center, whether or not we have crossing guards, whether or not, you know, the seniors have a place to go. Those are no-brainers. You know, if we're going to be a vibrant community, if we're going to be a place where we attract and retain young talent, we're going to have to do these things. We're going to have to be more collaborative as a council. And that's another reason I'm getting involved. I also have the work I've done in the executive branch of government. Mayor Moore left this city in a great position when we left. So we have more money now than we've ever had since I've been on the city council. And so I understand how to save money. I understand how to invest. People say we're spending money. We're not spending money. You invest taxpayer dollars. It's not our job to sit on top of your money. It's to invest it and to make your life better, to make our community better. And so that's another reason I'm running. I think the leadership needs to be better on the council. I think we can do better. No, I don't think. I know we can do better. I've worked with members of the councils. Mary Olson and I have spent a lot of time together, and we've talked about that. It's about what we need to do to make this a vibrant place, to make this a destination place. And that's what we're going to continue to do through working together collaboratively to making sure that we are financing projects and investing in projects, both public and private partnership, to make our city a better place. What we did with the River District, we can do with the Tosin Center. I've talked with people that want to do that. So we just need to bring those people to the table and get that done. I love where I live, and I live where I love, and I appreciate your support for councilperson at large. May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arvis. We hear now from Democrat Alex Holtz.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate the League of Women Voters and all of you for taking the time this evening to be at this event. I'd like to establish that I am the collaboration candidate. Partnerships are very important to me. adversarial relationships, I don't think in the long run result in good outcomes. I have spent the last 8 years, I gave up this responsibility, but the last 8 years as the Elkhart Teachers Association president. It was an annually elected position. I feel as though I conducted myself in such a way that if we had the election either among the teachers or among the administrators, who I did have to wrangle with sometimes or lock horns, I think I could get elected from both groups. And I believe that's a special skill that I have, and it's something that I would like to have the opportunity to be involved with the city council as well. I've spent 22 years at Elkhart Memorial High School. I have experience as a tennis coach. We've had an opportunity to go to the state finals, opportunity as well to go to the state finals as the academic decathlon coach. I like to meet, greet, and interact with a wide variety of people, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. I'm offering myself up to you humbly, and I hope that you can find a good use for me.
Thank you, Alex. Next, we hear from Thomas Butler.
Thank you all for being here tonight and being involved. I really want to thank the League of Women Voters and Elizabeth Bennion and the American Democracy Project from Indiana University, my alma mater. I am here to confess that I only took one political science class. I was committed to public administration, and at the time when I was young and naive, I once thought that, gosh, you know, why are we focusing on just trying to win? Can't we just talk to people about the systems of work, the management systems of work, what actually helps people in government, and win elections that way? Why do we have to have these complicated political science campaigns and things like that to understand how to win? Well, I've certainly grown up a lot since then. That was many years ago. I got my bachelor's in public administration and got accepted in an accelerated master's program in the same program. It's the third ranked public administration program in the world, other behind Harvard and Princeton. There was a Nobel laureate that was one of my professors that talked a lot about how we can manage public resources without the use of government. I'm someone that's a fiscal conservative, first and foremost, but I've been concerned about how some of the fiscal conservatives cut programs without actually looking at the ways in which we can actually help people and the ways programs need to be helped. And that's why I ran as an independent 4 years ago. I'm not someone that is partisan and believe necessarily in a specific ideology to drive how we do government. And that's why I'm running for city council at large, because while it's absolutely true that there are quite a bit of public programs that could be run more efficiently, just cutting them isn't the solution, and neither is running them inefficiently. I'm concerned about, I really got involved in politics for sure when I worked downtown. I came here to Elkhart after working for the federal government as a contractor in DC and Philadelphia, helping to build the new database system for the Environmental Protection Agency. I worked as a graduate intern for the city of Bloomington within their Environmental Commission, and also for the Public Works Department and an assistantship building the geographic information systems. And I can see a lot of advantages with efficiency. I was very disappointed about 10 years ago when I saw the downtown development project really crush a lot of small business owners, local business owners. I was currently the local sales manager for the Truth newspaper, and we worked with local business owners. There I learned the economic multiple of local business ownership being so much higher than these big corporations, which we give big subsidies to. We don't focus a lot and look at the economic multiples of small business owners. If you look at people like Carol McDowell and how much she's built and been able to contribute to the community because she's been a local business owner, that's very important. So I'm interested in helping to build business and helping to build infrastructure efficiently for all the citizens of Elkhart. And I hope to get your vote on, on May 9th. May 9th, okay. So that's the most important thing. See, I'm learning about this election stuff. Thank you so much.
That's all right. We'll help him out and say that if you liked what you heard, vote for him on May 7th rather than on the 9th, which would be just a tad too late. Let's hear now from our Republican candidates, or perhaps after the last speaker, I should say, candidates running in the Republican primary. We'll hear first from Kevin Bullard.
Good evening. I'd like to start out by thanking the American Democracy Project of IU South Bend, the League of Women Voters of Elkhart County, and I believe also the Community Foundation of Elkhart County for hosting this event as an introduction to all of the candidates. I am Kevin Bullard. I'm a fourth-generation farmer. I grew up the corner of County Road 17 and Middlebury Street. I graduated from Purdue with a bachelor degree in animal science. At that time, my passion was farming. I returned home to the family farm to work with my dad. There he taught me how to face the daily challenges of farming. We farmed approximately 1,000 acres of corn and soybeans. We had a lot of cattle and a few hogs. In the mid-'80s, we started to sell sweet corn at the old Grange Hall under the trees on the corner. In 1989, we opened the farm market. Today, my wife and I own and operate Bullard's Farm Market and Greenhouse. Over the years, we've provided a unique service to the community. This year, we celebrate 30 years. This sense of business is what's needed in our local government. In 2018, I was asked to serve on the Elkhart City Redevelopment Commission. I held that position for 11 months, and then I was asked once again to serve, this time on the City Council. Having been voted in by caucus, I began a new job in December 2018. On my first day as a councilman, I met with Mayor Tim Neese, and we had a nice talk in his office. I have also strengthened my already established connections with many local business leaders. I've talked with most of the city department heads and their staff. I think that is very important to have a good foundation with all the city employees. With the current level of growth and prosperity, we need to prepare for the future of Elkhart. A few areas I believe that are important are housing, jobs and job training, infrastructure, and then improving our parks and our cultural assets. All of these need to have a vision of growth and diversity if we want to create an opportunity for the youth of Elkhart. There's a lot of time between now and the November election. I will learn a lot and understand more about our city government. There will be 15 city council meetings, countless committee meetings, and yes, many meet and greet forums and debates that will allow you to get to know me better. I'm excited to be working for the citizens of Elkhart, and I hope I earn your trust and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, we hear from Republican Brian Dickerson.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, the American Democracy Project, and the Community Foundation of Elkhart County for hosting this forum. One thing I have found in the 6 years I've had the opportunity to serve on the City Council is that there are far too few events where there's an opportunity for the public to engage in this process and get to know those candidates, so I'm very thankful to have that opportunity here today. When I first got involved in City Council, I was actually elected by caucus in 2013 to fill Kyle Hannon's seat, who left to be the president of the Greater Elkhart Chamber of Commerce. And I was fortunate enough to be re-elected later on to serve an additional 4 years on the county council. Since that time, this is my third year serving as council president, which I've been very thankful for the opportunity that the fellow members of the county council have given me to do that. One thing that you will find over the last 3 years is that the administration and the council has been able to work together to reinvest a lot of the tax dollars that you guys have entrusted us with. You can look to the River District in Elkhart. I've worked with Brent Curry to lobby the administration and Public Works to be able to focus on Benham Avenue, which I think if anybody here has driven in Elkhart recently, we can probably agree is a challenge, and it's also a major thoroughfare. But I'm looking forward to seeing that project break ground this year. We have the first ever asset management plan that we've had in the city of Elkhart. Public Works literally went around to every road in Elkhart and rated it. And as a result of that process, we were able to get millions of dollars from the state of Indiana through a grant to reinvest and to capitalize on some of the opportunities we have here. So when you look through Elkhart right now, you also see that we have many other events in downtown. We have Comic-Con, we have Bike Night, we brought go-karts back to Elkhart. A lot of that's due to the current mayor that we have, but it also took support from the common council that we have serving here today. And so there's a lot of opportunity for collaboration between the legislative branch and the executive branch to get a lot of really good things done. But it's also important that we have accountability in government. And I'm very proud to say that I think this council has had good debate over the last few years on issues. But we have found throughout the course of that process that there are some other things we can do better. And we're working to get those done. Yeah, aside from my public life, I am also the president and owner of Final Phase Electric in Elkhart. We're an electrical contracting company. And as part of that process, it's necessary for us to work with other contractors, members of the public, and our customers. And what I have found is that one thing we've tried to focus on in Elkhart over the last few years is to redevelop that level of customer service that we have in the city of Elkhart, whether it be on code enforcement or in our building department. And I think that we've been able to get a lot of things accomplished, one of which you will notice is you can buy permits online now. Okay, you would have thought that in prior years that would have been something that we had in the city of Elkhart. The common council was able to spend some dollars and reinvest in the city and bring us into the 21st century. So as you guys move forward in the general election this year, I'd ask that you give me strong consideration to be able to serve you again on the common council. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Last but not least, we hear from Mary Olson.
Good evening. I love these gatherings. My name is Mary Olson. I've been a representative, which is an honor that I find myself short on words. To be a public servant, to serve the entire community of Elkhart is an unbelievably humbling, and I'm very thankful for it. I'm a communicator. My phone doesn't stop. I love the fact that people reach out, and they reach out with honest concerns. We've been a patient community, and we waited till we had a vision, until we had a heart to move forward with River District, and that's proved a very positive move. We have the Aquatic Center with the public-private partnerships that are taking place that's going to change the dynamics of Elkhart. We will be hosting from all over the country events. We are developing a river district that will invite investment into our community. We're very lucky. I look out and I recognize so many of your faces. I've been blessed to serve for a number of years. I've had a variety of jobs. I used to work for a congressman. I used to be the manager for the 1980 census, which is through the it's a federal office. I've been very blessed, but I want you to all understand one thing. As you look at the ballot on the 7th, it's not about necessarily who's on there or whose agenda is what. Just know that all these lovely folks, I'm always so proud when I look up at the men and women that are willing to be your servants on your behalf. And that's an honor. I thank you for your time. If you would please consider to vote for me, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary. And you heard a lot of Republicans and Democrats talking about the importance of getting together and cooperating and collaborating to get things done. Perhaps there is something that Washington, D.C. can learn from these local governments after all. We will hear now from the candidate for Elkhart City Court Judge, Charles Grodnik.
Good evening, and thanks for coming. This is what America's all about. I want to thank the sponsors. I also want to thank the moderator and Janet Evangelist for helping get the thing together. Well, as opposed to some of the others who were born here, I chose Elkhart 49 years ago, and I've never regretted that choice for 1 minute. I have been honored to be the judge of the Elkhart City Court for the last 27 plus years. But I want to do it again. Elkhart City Court is a court that is able to try to maintain the livability of Elkhart. I think that's one of the important functions of the court. And as the judge of the Elkhart City Court, I'm uniquely able to focus on that aspect, and that's what we're really all talking about tonight. So since I'm unopposed and I have weighted candidates behind me, I'm going to end my talk right now, and thank you very much for attending.
Thank you very much, Judge Grodnik. We hear now from 2 candidates running for the position of city clerk, and both are running in the Republican Party primary. We will hear first tonight from Debra Barrett.
Thank you all for being here. It is so important to be informed and find out what your candidates' qualifications and what they stand for. I have lived in Elkhart since 1982. I've raised 2 children here, Mark and Sarah. I have a wonderful daughter-in-law, Emily, and 3 amazing grandkids. I graduated in 1994 from the IUSB paralegal program. I have 24 plus years of legal experience. And that is important because the city clerk serves as also the clerk for the city court and the clerk for the city council. A good understanding of law and how to read a law and interpret a law and what it means is, I think, very important for this position. I have worked for private attorneys. I've worked for 2 prosecutors' offices. And I have 12 years with the Elkhart City Clerk's office. I currently serve as the first deputy clerk, and I have for the last 2.5 years. I started at an entry-level position, so I know this office from the entry level up. My legal background and my clerk experience make me uniquely qualified to take the office forward. We are going to be facing a big challenge when we change over our court management system. We will be changing to the statewide Odyssey system. It's going to require retraining of all the staff to be able to work that program, and that's going to be a big challenge. My other focus is efficiency. We have been already looking at efficiency, job descriptions. We want to make sure that we're spending the taxpayers' money in the best possible way and the most efficient, useful way to the taxpayer. And when we transition to Odyssey, the citizens will be able to go online and check on their own court dates. Now, they can still call us, and we would encourage that, but they can check on things on a Saturday. So it's important, that transition that we're having. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters and the American Democracy Project for their continued efforts to inform the voters. Initially, the Elkhart City Clerks had a debate scheduled for April 8th, and I was disappointed when my opponent said she was unable to attend that day. I believe that we should come to the debates and let our voters ask questions, let them compare and contrast qualifications and visions for the office. So I was disappointed by that. And tonight I am asking for your vote for Elkhart City Clerk in the Republican primary on May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Debra. Coming from the department that offers the Paralegal Studies program at IU South Bend, I will say that there are both 1-year and 2-year program options. Courses do meet in the evening, so anybody who has a full-time job but is thinking about picking up that credential, we welcome your applications. And now let's get to our second candidate for City Clerk, Republican Ronda Bilancio.
everybody for coming. I had my speech, but I left it at home, so I'm going to wing this one. I've lived in Elkhart my whole life. My parents have lived in Elkhart their whole life. My grandparents have lived in Elkhart as soon as they got through Ellis Island and came to Elkhart. So we've been around a long time. My background, I've had almost 40 years in banking. So finance, it's in banking, so it's there. I had thought about 5 years ago I was ready to retire, so I retired, and it took me about 3 months to think, oh, I made a mistake. I'm not ready to retire. So I started working at the clerk's office, and I really enjoyed it. It's a really fascinating office. We do all paperwork for both councilmen and the city court. But as in banking, unfortunately, I was good at being a manager for 20 years. They gave me 2 branches to manage, 2 of the busiest branches in Elkhart, and I thought, dang. But every year we made our goals, we made our budget. But what I would like to see, and I've seen through working up there, is I think we need a little bit more transparency. I had a neighbor move in across the street. She left her trash can out in the front, and I thought, well, I got to tell her. So I walked over and said, you got to hide that. And she said, oh, I didn't know that. So I think what we need to do is, I'd like to see, and this is what I will try to do, is put more information on our website. I am sure not all of you have gone to South Bend website, but it is so unbelievably good that I think we can make ours a lot better. Let the residents know, what you can and cannot do in the city versus the county, because it's one street over, but you can't do it in ours. Another I want is I'd like to start up a pilot program with 9th graders from Elkhart high schools to come in, as long as Judge Grodnik approves, and the school board, and work with the chief of police to have them come in and 9th graders, because they're going to go to school with 10th, 11th, and 12th graders who drive, who go to dances. I just want them to be sure they see how making one bad mistake can either, and it's very expensive anymore too, but it can really have a large impact on their life now. So I would really like for them to come, sit for a morning, 2 hours maybe, listen. Then afterwards, I want the review with them. They can ask questions, and if I could get everybody to work together, we could go out to schools and talk to them. So I'm Ronda Bilancio, and I'm running for city clerk. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronda. Okay, now we hear from the 3 candidates running for mayor. As you all know, Mayor Neese has opted not to seek re-election, so there will be a new mayor. We have 3 candidates, and we will hear first from Democratic candidate Ashley Boiling-Molyneaux.
Thank you to the League and the ADP and the Community Foundation. What wonderful partners. So, since I was a child, I've been taught to give back because I've been blessed so much. And that's exactly why I'm running for mayor. Because I love this town, but I love it too much to leave it where it's at. I want to build a community with all of you where people want to live, not just where they come to work. And that's going to take some work. We have a lot of gaps. We have a lot of challenges that we need to overcome. I've been rolling up my sleeves in the service of Elkhart since I came back to start the Elkhart Education Foundation 3 years ago. I went away for college and career, like many of us do, and I was sure I wasn't coming back here. But when I realized what was happening with my Elkhart Community Schools, my home community, I had to do something. I was losing sleep. And so I made an appointment with the superintendent, and I came home and I said, what can I do? So we started the Elkhart Education Foundation. And in the past 3 years, we've infused over $1 million into Elkhart Community Schools through high impact programming, and much needed a much needed infusion of cash. I'm a gap filler. That's what I do. I identify things that need to be fixed, gaps that need to be filled. I work with a group of people to create practical solutions, and then we fill those gaps, and usually ahead of schedule. I'm results oriented. You want results? Vote for me. I've had children sitting in classrooms who couldn't see, had no idea that they couldn't read or they were acting out because they couldn't see. So what I did with my organization was create a 42-foot mobile eye exam unit that took the care directly to them. Not only did they get the care, but they got the glasses that they needed on site. That's the kind of results, practical solutions that I can provide for a community. So it's easy to talk about vision. Of course, we want to be the place people want to live. We want to have robust park district offerings. We need a community center that's open and ready to service our community from cradle to grave. But how are you going to do it? That's the real question. So we're going to identify the gaps. We're going to get the right people in place and hold them accountable for goals that we're going to ask them to set. We're going to start employee evaluations that have been very lacking across the city. We're going to improve communication because it's sad. It's disrespectful, the communication that we have going. And then we're going to start the real work of neighborhood revitalization, because that's what we need to do. Expand on the wonderful things that are happening in the River District and move out into the wider community. I'm Ashley Boiling-Molyneaux, and I ask for your vote on May 7th, and I promise you that I will help bring Elkhart into excellence.
Thank you very much, Ashley. We hear next from Democratic candidate Roberson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roberson, and I would like to thank the American Democracy Project of South Bend, as well as the League of Women Voters, and I didn't realize that the foundation was sponsoring this as well, so let's thank them also. And all of you for coming out and sharing with us and talking about Elkhart's future that will include me as your mayor. I am an Elkhart mayor. I'm an Elkhart native who I believe in it. I'm an Elkhart native who left home as well for college to pursue my professional career as well. Since returning 22 years ago, I've been focused not only on my faith and family, but also on improving our neighborhoods, empowering our families, and preparing our youth for their future. My innovative ideas, coupled with extensive legislative, corporate, and administrative experience, make me the most qualified person to be your next mayor. With that said, I want to earn your vote. But more importantly, I want to earn your confidence in knowing that I will work with you to build Elkhart together. This means your voice will be heard and your skills will be valued. Elkhart's neighborhoods are changing. Our residents are more culturally diverse, more multi-talented. They want to be seen and they want to be heard. We need them all to be a part of Elkhart's future, and I will bring the leadership needed to make that happen. Elkhart can be safe, educationally strong, and offer fun activities for our youth and families. Once elected, I will begin within each neighborhood, just as I did with saving the Roosevelt Center, the removal of the mega shredder, and the creation of Back to School Elkhart, and LEAP. Some of you may not know, years ago, a program that assisted over 200 students pass the graduating qualifying exam. My administration will be proactive by creating a self-determining model that provides opportunities for neighborhood residents and organizational stakeholders to strategically plan which amenities and services they will support, maintain, and enjoy. This hasn't ever happened outside of our downtown. My administration will implement this forward-thinking model and seek available funding streams to ensure sustainable delivery of the plan. We will look for private investment partners to provide affordable quality housing. Every resident, no matter where they live, deserves a thriving neighborhood. Towson is a neighborhood asset and use in an anchor in the planning process to reinvent the entire area. We've done it with the Aquatic Center and the River District. We'll do it with Towson. Lastly, as we put more focus into our areas outside of downtown, just imagine, rather just watch, what Elkhart can become and how it will grow. Everyone will come to know that Elkhart has a heartbeat and it will be strong. So I ask you to vote for Rod Roberson, May the 7th, not May the 8th or 9th.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. And this was a sneak preview. We will be hearing more from Ashley and Ron on April 8th, right here at the Crystal Ballroom in the Lerner Theater, 6:30 p.m. And the moderator will be very strict with the 90-second or 60-second responses. So we'll have our time cards back there and we'll be cutting you off. So please, we know that nobody will want to miss that debate. But now we hear from the final candidate for mayor, David Miller, who is running in the Republican Party primary.
That was surprisingly anemic for the last speaker. You're almost out of here. But thank you for inviting me and all of us to participate. Thank you for coming out tonight when you could be watching basketball. Grateful to be here. I'm Dave Miller. I deliver newspapers here, carried out groceries at Wilt's Grocery Store, worked as a tour guide at Selmer, and met the love of my life at Elkhart Central, and we've been married 38 years. She gave us 3 daughters who've given us 7 grandchildren, and they all live in Elkhart, thank the Lord. And while our family grew, I started and ran a successful commercial art company, and then I was elected mayor. Politics is a jealous mistress. She takes an awful lot of your time. And you may remember that as I served as mayor 2 terms, almost 25,000 hours, incidentally, and during those busy 8 years, we built the Indiana Avenue underpass. We started the bridge at Prairie Street. We started this beautiful building. We had the Riverwalk and the Riverwalk Commons as part of our project. IUSB was under our watch. So was the Nibco Water and Ice Park, Pierre Moran Pool, McNaughton Spray Park, and a number of other things. It was a busy 4 years. And what I discovered is a lot of people forgot what happened during our administration. But after I left office, I worked for the RV industry and transportation, and after 4 years of learning that business, I was asked to start a company for the nation's largest RV retailer. Did that. Company grew very, very rapidly, hired a whole bunch of drivers, moved thousands of RVs, and I semi-retired from there after 4 years and decided I wanted to transport something just a little bit more valuable and a little bit harder. Your children in a school bus. Try doing that. We need more school bus drivers, and there's some of you who could be doing that tomorrow if you'd like. Now we are considering the future of Elkhart and who is best equipped to serve and lead it forward. And I'm running because Elkhart has huge, huge potential for making life great for our citizens and our families. And I know how to lead a city. My administration will focus on 5 essential elements. First of all, public safety. We must restore the confidence citizens absolutely need with their police department, improve the delivery of that vital service and every other public safety portion. We need smart infrastructure, among other things. For instance, Elkhart needs another railroad overpass, and we're going to build one. Quality of life, the River District is a bold venture that deserves our support and best energies. Economic development, besides serving as CEO of the city, which is a complicated business to operate, frankly. The mayor is the chief promoter and visionary, and I'll do everything I can to help businesses succeed. Finally, financial stewardship. You've heard people talk about that. We'll work with the council to ensure that occurs. But on behalf of the city and Elkhart and all our citizens who call it home, I'm asking for your vote again this May. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, David, and thank you to all of our candidates. Janet has a quick announcement that she wants to make, and then we'll have an opportunity to give a big round of applause for all of our candidates. Janet?
So there are a couple of announcements that I want to make. First of all, and someone alluded to it, we have a couple of other partners that we are working with, and I want to make sure that we also mention them. The Elkhart Community Foundation has sponsored these. They're going to sponsor all 3 of the forums that we're having. And they have just been so generous, and without their help, we could not have done it. So the Elkhart Community Foundation has been wonderful. The second partnership that I'd also like to mention is with the Elkhart Truth. And they have been fantastic partners. They've helped us with getting the word out that we're having these forums. And then additionally, they've worked with us, and we've subsequently worked with all of the candidates. We've had them answer a number of questions. We've given those answers to the Truth. And in the next few weeks, you will be seeing those answers in the Truth. And that will kind of be your guide to help you understand, along with these forums, who maybe your best choice for a candidate will be. So please be looking for those in the Elkhart Truth, and be aware that the Elkhart Truth has been a great, both the Elkhart Truth and the Community Foundation have just been fantastic partners for us. Additionally, 2 other things. We've talked about the fact that voting is on May 7th, right? That is the date. But the thing that I also want to tell you is make sure that you understand that there's early voting starting April 8th. And that is, quite frankly, I do that every year, and it is the easiest, most wonderful way to vote. And that will be at the Lincoln Center again this year. So please make sure that starting April 8th, if you would like, that you go and vote early.
Not until after the forum, the final forum.
That's right. The final forum is on April 8th. The mayor's debate is on April 8th. So wait then until April 9th. And finally, one other announcement. April 6th, which is a Saturday, at the St. James AME Church, which is on 122 Martin Luther, this is oddly specific, isn't it? 122 Martin Luther King Boulevard. There is going to be one of the new voting machines. So if you would like to, so if you would like to go and see what the voting machines look like, how they work, you can also do a sample ballot. So please, I encourage you on April 6th to go to the AME Church, to the St. James AME Church, and take a look at the new voting machines. They're going to be wonderful. They're going to protect your vote. You're going to be very safe with that. So please take a look at that, and I'll now turn it back over to Elizabeth.
Thank you. I just have a few final words. Number 1, you'll see on your program it says survey collection. Let us know how you found out about this, but also give us your email if you want to be added to our email list to make sure you don't miss out on future opportunities like this, and let us know what other things you'd like to see happening here or across the street at the IU South Bend Elkhart Center. And please join us, those who are here with us live, in the a networking reception. We noticed a few people stealing cookies along the way, but it looks like we still have some refreshments. So feel free to follow up with candidates. And finally, I'd like to just thank you all for attending and have a round of applause for our wonderful candidates for all being here.